Hey everyone, and welcome to another GameCast review. Today I'll be looking at Gundam Versus, now available for the PlayStation 4. Let's start things off by talking about gameplay. I've always loved the mech design and battles from Gundam, but the rest of it never really clicked with me. Gundam Versus is built with a similar mindset, as the whole game is comprised of different mobile suits beating the nuts and bolts out of each other. Gundam Versus is the first major physical release for this series in the West, so some players might be a little lost. Basically, it's a team-based arena fighter. Each team has a predetermined stock or energy meter, and once it's depleted, it's game over. Stock drains with each knockout, and some suits are worth more than others due to their stats or abilities. There are several multiplayer modes like 1v1, 2v2 or 3v3, as well as survival and an arcade-style mode. It's nothing groundbreaking, but it's enough to keep it varied. The 1v1 and 2v2 modes are especially good, as some strategies that work against multiple foes won't work in an individual encounter. There's a huge selection of over 90 mobile suits in the game, but there are certain traits shared between them. Most have some kind of variation on simple laser rifles, missile launchers, and beam swords. The main mobile suits from each series tend to be the most varied and were definitely the ones I tried out first. While there may not have been a huge difference between Barbados and the original Gundam, their animations were completely unique, and I felt like I was piloting something different. The more specialised suits like Wing and Banshee were refreshing and brought in varied skills and playstyles to keep things fresh. Over the course of a battle, you'll fill your burst gauge. Once activated, your Gundam's stats will raise dramatically, and you can even perform your unique finisher attack. I didn't realise it at first, but there is a lot of strategy in activating your burst, as there are two versions to select before starting a match. There's Blaze and Lightning. Blaze will ensure all stats are maximised while in burst, ensuring a victory when up close. Lightning gear will focus on increased speed and longevity, allowing you to keep up an assault and dodge any counterattacks. While there aren't any unlockable suits, there is a decent amount of unlockables in the form of support units gained from leveling individual suits. If you aim to 100% the game, you'll be here for a while. There isn't a huge emphasis on single player content, which is a little disappointing, but the trial mode and free battle modes try to make up for it. I would have preferred a pure practice mode so I could get used to each suit before throwing them into real combat, but it's built simply enough that you can learn the basics fairly fast. The trial mode and ultimate battle modes don't pull any punches either, as a short ways into each mode the difficulty spikes and the enemy AI starts behaving more like real players. It all feels very arcadey, and that shouldn't come as a surprise as the Gundam Versus series started out in arcades. While there's nothing wrong with arcade fighters, I found victories to lack a little impact in their finales. In other fighting games, a well-placed super or throw can make for a satisfying conclusion to a hard-won battle, but in Versus, the battle just kind of ends. There's not much fanfare, and more often than not, the final blow was something minor like a laser. There's no story in this game, so we'll skip straight to presentation. I've spent a good portion of my young adult life building Gunpla. It's fun and relaxing having a net of random plastic pieces strewn out over a table, and hours later having a fully posable figurine. I fell in love with Gundam designs early on, and games like Versus remind me why I love it so much. Sure, it's not the best looking game out there, and the environments are practically all the same, but concessions had to be made for this roster. While I am annoyed that some of my personal favourites didn't make it into the base roster, and will most likely be added as DLC at a later date, I can't deny how good each suit looks in this engine. There's a few minor texturing issues every now and again, but for the most part each Gundam looks the part in this gritty all-out brawler. They look less cartoony here and more like actual war machines. It fits the tone of more recent series and makes the usual red, white and blue colour scheme of the suits seem less noticeable. Each of the Gundams has been lovingly animated, and special care was taken for transformable Gundams and mode switching suits like Exia, Strike and Unicorn. The special burst attacks are also great to see and are mostly true to the source material. Again, I think they lack a little impact, and this is due to the arcade nature of the game. The soundtrack mixes old and new worlds together with some remixes of old tunes and some classic cheesy tracks as well. The main Gundam theme, while charming at first, does tend to grate on the nerves, especially during installation. There are no English voices, which is a bit disappointing for fans of the dub, and some lines aren't translated, such as victory quotes. It was a bit of a rushed job for localization, but this way it keeps costs down and had the game release worldwide as soon as it could. Gundam Versus is good, clean fun. It's simple to learn, hard to master, and very easy to pick up and play. I can't see myself playing in long sessions, but it's perfect in short bursts. There's a lot of content here for those that dig for it, but casual players might feel a bit underwhelmed. It's a good game, however it could have probably been released at a budget price to reflect its arcade sensibilities. It's a good time sink, but it might not have much lasting appeal for gamers that don't like multiplayer. It's a solid game that will get better with patches and DLC. It's just a little too pricey at launch. Because of that, Gundam Versus is a wait for sale. It's one of those games where the less you pay for it, the better it is. I also hope it's a sign of things to come on the localization front, as getting a physical release for this game was a huge step forward. I hope you liked that video. For more great gaming content, stick around at GameCast, or if you'd like to see more from me, you can find me over at Arisen Culture. Until next time, bye!